found a mom.
Mm.
Don't be too shocked. I found a mom on TikTok who she put her milk in a plastic recipient and did heat up in a microwave.
Right.
Yeah. And I was
Okay.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what? I mean,
Yeah.
so many people were following that lady, and I was just like, I can't begin to tell how that's just not
Yeah.
right.
Like, yeah. Well done, you. Well done, you.
Oh my gosh.
Well, for the body temperature, absolutely. Because then she's killing the
Yeah, of
microbe. I
course,
mean,
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Sorry, but go on. You
yeah,
were saying about
yeah.
probiotics and
But
prebiotics.
however, there are bits of dead bacteria that can also stimulate the immune system. So they're not as good as alive, but if she's been doing it, there's still some benefit.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Because as we grow older and our stomach acid gets more acidic, a lot of bacteria get killed anyway in the stomach first, right?
Okay. Does that change with age as well? Like
No,
the acidity of the
no,
stomach?
I think it'd be worth finding out. I don't know what is the pH, it's a tummy of a newborn baby. How long does it take to become really acidic?
Okay.
Which
Okay.
an adult has. I keep asking my gastroenterologist colleagues. I haven't found the answer yet.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, but so it's again, what sits in the mouth, stomach are very different. Call it communities again, ecosystem.
Of course, yes.
And you want the right one at the right place. That's another thing, which is a challenge in microbiome work. We just look at the poo sample, but the community in different parts of your gut are doing different functions. Like I said,
Yeah. Location matters, different biochemistry. Yeah.
Location absolutely matters. So there are lots and lots of questions still.
Yeah.
But going back to, so the best thing a mom can do is have something with prebiotic plus something like bifidobacterium, which is the right microbe. But I also, it's not my area of expertise. I think locally, different cultures, you mentioned Brazil, those old wives, what grandma says, listen to it.
Yeah.
Because they have known it from centuries of what works, at what stage should you give a little spoonful of yogurt with which have got microbes anyway to your baby? So these are, and I think it's all good advice.
Yeah.
So you said about, did you say something else about breast milk you wanted to know?
It was about microbes. So you said there are microbes present in breast milk themselves.
Yeah, but they're the same ones that lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, which are the two main ones that go into babies' gut for the first 6-9 months of their life.
Okay.
So if they were
infantis, okay. Sorry. Infantis, bifidobacterium infantis. Okay, that's very easy. There is the probiotic of this strain, bifidobacterium infantis. Do you think there's any value on giving that to a child if you give him breast milk as well? Because I've read that if they flourish more in the presence, 10 times more in the presence of breast milk, or not.
I personally am. If you are breastfeeding, the baby is healthy, don't overdo it, because you are playing with the ecosystem.
Okay. But if the child is eating other things as well, for example. If you have to give a formula, in Brazil, it happens a lot that some people give goat's milk instead of cow's milk, and you breastfeed, and because sometimes it's just not enough, and everyone thinks it's very easy to start babies on solids. Sometimes it's a bit challenging.
I'm sure it is. Again, what was interesting is there was a lovely study from Japan, one of my favorite papers. I'll pass it to you. They followed 12 babies, all vaginally born, all breastfed, and they tested the microbiome almost every other day and looked at how it changed over a year.
Yeah.
And what they found was that when the baby had breast milk plus solid food, the microbiome didn't change.
Wow.
Yeah. It just shows the breast milk is so powerful. The player and the driver of the microbiome.
Wow.
It will hardly change.
You have to send me that.
I will send it. So for me, that was a really good lesson telling us the power of breast milk.
Yeah.
It's doing more than just food. It's got other signals there that are telling the new solid food microbes that like it, go to sleep. We don't need you right now because breast milk is doing a perfect job. The minute the mums stop breastfeeding, the microbiome changed within 1 week.
1 week.
Within 1 week. So once you take that away, whatever the mums, it's like the main player, like the superstar, like I said.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And then, the new microbes that came in with the new food suddenly wake up then and say, now it's your job to take over. And it's that changes that are really important.
Wow. This is so important for moms to know this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is one study, but it just shows that how you, like I said, it's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
If you have plants, if you're a keen gardener, you bring different ones at different, flowers, some flower, at particular times. So it's always blooming. If you put too much of one type, and then you only get flowers between September and November and nothing else, then that's not perfect. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. But also it shows that even if you're not managing to give an insane amount of breast milk, whatever you can give is still worth it for that child health. Fascinating. Okay, so now we're going to change the topic a little bit. You're amazing. Honestly, I'm learning so much. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate this. And the public too.
No, it's a pleasure to share thoughts. It's a nice way to learn from each other.
It's so important. Okay, so my next question, I will go regarding probiotics, right? We hear about prebiotics, probiotics, and what do you think about the foods that are fortified with these components? What are they? Should people be taking them or not? Is it more valid to have fermented food or not? What's your opinion on this topic specifically for adults?
Yeah, for adults now, yes. So babies are a bit more complex.
Yeah.
I mean, I think before I answer that, I mean, we have done lots of. If you look at again, I like evolution. Originally humans, we were all hunter-gatherers, were in the jungle, going and killing, and even very, fast, runners. And then agriculture came around in only 10,000 years ago, or 12,000.
Yeah.
So before that, there was no wheat and things. And then fast forward, then we had the Industrial Revolution, and our food has changed. And certainly, if you talk about the last 100 years, we're all aware of our processed food. If somebody said to me, the nice apple you see in your local supermarket is almost 8 months old.
Yeah.
And I said, and they say they put all this, something to make it look shiny, the long-term storage. We all love our fridge freezers, and our relationship with food has changed. I think you'll agree with me, won't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So it's no surprise that, as we started by saying, but microbes like what, where the food is, and what food I put in my mouth is going to have an impact, on my microbiome, so that is really happening. So I personally would say, as a public, are we more healthier than people 100 years ago? They had, less clean water. I understand that, more infection.
Of course.
But is our food healthier?
Yeah.
I don't think I can answer that. Is our food healthier? I don't know. With all the pesticides we use, So I think it's best to say I could make my microbiome better, even if I'm walking around feeling healthy. So addition of some fermented food is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
I've actually stopped recently, but normally if I had an egg in the morning, protein, to just have a bit of sauerkraut or kimchi with it. I do like it.
Yeah.
I find foods that you enjoy, and you just need a tablespoon. You don't have to go mad about it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, all these cereals, they're all processed. What is this stuff?
Yeah, I know it's not even real food.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And also in the UK, we've got a real thing on TV, all these bake-off programs. What is all this cake things? What's going on? This patisserie, it's, it should be an occasional. I do like my glass of wine, red wine. Yes, love it.
So do I.
But if I do have a choice, cake or a glass of red wine, I know what I'll go for. But each one is doing something to your microbiome. Let's be fair.
Yes.
Red wine does have antioxidants, so that's good.
Absolutely, yes.
So I
like the way you think.
Yeah. We can all make minor adjustments and it just add a little bit without going, I must admit, during COVID, it's the first time ever I actually bought tablets, probiotic.
Okay.
And, I can't remember the reason. Two things happened. It was to do with sleep. I thought, this is your immune system, and because we were locked down and,
of course,
it was like, okay, let's try that.
Yeah.
My husband only took those tablets for 2 days and he ended up with horrible pains. And he said to me, what have you given me? And I thought I was doing a little experiment.
And then he blamed you. Yes.
He stopped. He said, he was getting absolutely like people have with the IBS.
Yeah.
Irritable bowel syndrome, non-specific tummy aches. And he's never had them. And he just stopped immediately after 2 days. I carried on for a week. And I must admit, I remember getting so, oh God, I slept so well. Because it had tryptophan in there, which is a sleep thing.
Yeah.
But then, I just went back to my routine and not just take. But I think my comment is, I'd rather change food than take probiotics and prebiotics if I'm reasonably healthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you are not there, for cases of people who actually have gut health, they might.
Yes, of course. But now, again, I think maybe your podcast should be an example of how public information needs to be shared.
Yeah.
One thing I find, so I think, yes, probiotics will, because they're anti-inflammatory. So I'm completely personally okay if you say I've got an inflammatory disease, I want to switch my immune system down a bit, which could be like arthritis. It's an inflammatory condition, relapse and comes on again. So maybe you could try probiotics, see if it delays a relapse, as an example.
Yeah.
Inflammatory bowel disease. Now, what I find quite shocking, and maybe I should not find it shocking, there's a lovely paper that came out in Science a year ago. And this is, they did a clinical trial in America for melanoma, skin cancer.
Yeah.
And they gave, so they had this top immunotherapy for one branch of patients. The second one got immunotherapy plus lactobacillus, probiotic 1.
Yeah.
Third arm got immunotherapy plus probiotic 2, which is this bifidobacterium.
Okay.
That we talk about, it's good for babies.
Yeah.
And the fourth arm had immunotherapy, but with fiber in the diet.
The fourth arm, okay.
Had fiber.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to put you under test. Which arm do you had the best survival?
So the fourth arm was probiotic, fiber.
No. So first arm only immunotherapy. They all had immunotherapies.
Yeah.
Okay. Proper cancer treatment.
Yeah.
One had nothing extra.
Okay. Control. Okay.
Number 2 had probiotic 1. Third had probiotic 2. Okay. And fourth arm had fiber. In addition, which one did the best?
Fiber.
Well done.
Yeah.
So if you take fiber, the survival was better than just immunotherapy alone.
This is insane.
What do you think? Yeah. What do you think happened with the probiotics?
What happened
with the probiotics? It was worse. They made the disease. They made the cancer worse. And they did the same experiments in a mouse model. In the mouse model, the tumors grew bigger for probiotics. Now, if you sit back and think, why did that happen? You think, actually, it makes complete sense. Because in cancer, you want your immune system to be overactive to kill the cancer.
And then it's fighting the new bugs, the probiotics. And then
the probiotic is anti-inflammatory, switching your immune system on. You want your immune system super on.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God.
Right? Correct? Wow. You want all your immune cells, the right ones, to be super active and go and kill the cancer. Right?
Yeah.
Just by taking probiotics, you're causing them to switch down, go to sleep, and you're doing the wrong thing. No. So I think you mentioned probiotics, prebiotics. Please, 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 it's not a universal therapy for everything. Okay?
Yeah.
Now I'm getting older, as
It's quite a
as it
serious.
happens. It's a very important point. I mean, I'm at an age now where, in the next 10, 15 years, as you get older, your immune system starts to decline with age. You can't do anything about it now unless I had stored a sample from my youth, as you suggested.
Yeah.
But that means that if my immune system is going from 100% to 90%, let's say, in its capacity, I want that 90% to be super active, ready.
Yes.
So I'm thinking I don't want to take any probiotics. I will take fiber, which is obviously good for you. And I'll take kimchi and all these fermented foods. So I get all the good guys doing the right job. And maybe some probiotics. It's just a balancing act.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I never thought about probiotics as a way to dump down inflammation.
But that's what they are. They're anti-inflammatory. That's why we take, But you don't want everything to be switched off, So I think this thing about should I take a probiotic every day with a capsule and do this like religiously, I would say to the general public. Remember, clinical conditions are different.
It's different,
and I'm not a clinician. But for the general public, I'd rather, get COVID. I'd rather get I want my body to fight it. To keep it good. Rather than this reliance we have that the more tablets we take, I'd rather change my diet and increase my tryptophan for my sleep. Then go to a health shop and just pick something up. So I think it's that balance, and science is not that well advanced. The good news is fiber is absolutely good for you.
This is very good. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. That was a perfect answer. Amazing, clear, lots of new things there. I love it. Thank you so much.
It's a real pleasure.
And I'm just gonna jump into the mental health, gut brain. And this new field of psychobiotics. Can you just help us understand a little bit about it, what you know about it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, a prebiotics means pre-food. Pro is actual microbe. So the psychobiotics, of course, people are realizing, as the tryptophan story, that there are, just as an example, there are 3 different ways tryptophan breaks in the body, and there are 3 different type of microbes that do the job. One goes to the immune system, one improves serotonin with your anxiety, sleep. So psychobiotics are any of these microbes, the label, that can, and tryptophan is just one example, that improves these neurotransmitters, helps them digest tryptophan to make these neurotransmitters. So it's just a new name for those microbes in the gut that are dedicated to giving us, things that are good for brain health. That's all it means. So that's not your bifido and lactobacillus or breast milk. Okay, that's like I said, anti-inflammatory, do a different function. Psychobiotic is just a name given to those microbes that people are identifying. That will help make new molecules that help with mental gut-brain axis. That's what
more specifically.
More specific.
Okay.
And I can see the attraction there. It's a field that needs exploration. So if you are Google and say psychobiotics, there are a lot of companies now that are involved in this strand of taking it further. I mean, just to mention the microbial intervention, if I can say, I said window of opportunity in childhood, fecal transplantation. I mean, the microbiome world has become a $1 billion, industry. There's a big future there, and this is just natural product or byproducts. Rather than getting expensive drugs into your body, if we can manipulate it, I think it's So that's where the term psychobiotics has been.
This is very interesting and then gives hope to
absolutely
for new treatments for some challenging mental health issues. This is good. Thank you.
No, it's a real pleasure. Just to say to you, since you mentioned it, when we look at our cancer patients, and it's when we look at the first sample before any intervention, the tryptophan, just as one example, is so sky high the levels are 20,000 times more than a normal person, not than a
Really?
normal baby. And the reason is, it's just sitting there, and the microbes are missing to be able to digest that tryptophan. So the minute we give them a little bit of the right food or some, and within a few days, that tryptophan comes down because it's gone in all these nice directions, making more serotonin. So, it really is a very important pathway,
This
or
really
step.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. And you think, oh my God, look at these patients, all this tryptophan. So the nutritionist is feeding the food to the patient.
Yeah.
We do calorie counting. We said this much protein, this much fat, this much sugar, whatever. So it's all very well, but if that's not being digested by the microbes, what's the point of it? Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And I mean, I see patients because I collect the stool sample. I can tell what they've had for their lunch. The whole broccoli, pieces of orange segments, completely undigested, are coming out because there is nothing there to help them digest it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. So you think the patient is being fed really well, but nothing is being absorbed and nothing is being broken down to all the goodies we want. So the microbiome, there you go, is so important.
This is so important. This is really golden. Thank you so much.
No,
I'm gonna just try to see best way here to finalize it. So because you've answered most of the questions anyway.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, you did. Oh, okay. So I would like to, before we get to the final wrap up, I would like to see if you have anything to tell us about exercise in the microbiome. If there's any influence and connection there, how important it is.
I think when I was saying that how our diet has changed in the last 100 years, the other thing we've changed is from the fast running hunter-gatherers become so sedentary, that is pretty shocking. I mean, there's another thing I'll say on this, sounds really, might make you laugh, that one thing the gut is a complex organ. It's very long, its capacity to take food in is the size of a tennis court, I've been told, if you opened it up, because it's so, and you think, okay, because one thing is motility, how fast the food moves, and that's important for your health. So I think with exercising, all those, the impact on the physical part of your gut in things that you don't normally think about will have an impact as well, and absolutely. And serotonin that we keep mentioning as a sleep, molecule, it's very important for gut motility. So if you're not sleeping well, you don't have serotonin, and then your gut is not moving properly, and all these unspecified conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, you can see why it's linked there.
It's unbelievable.
So I think, I personally have not kept up with the literature on, people in sport, the microbiome does look different. Can we distinguish between the physical activity versus change in diet? I can hypothesize that, of course, it's going to have an impact. But I think more than just the microbiome, I think the other impact on your gut well-being. I think things like motility.
Motility for the microbiome, for example.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for example, there are some patients who get bacterial overgrowth. It's not in the colon, it comes out. There's so much else going on where this whole communication between our gut and the microbes, we still don't understand completely. So I would say watch this space, but of course we should all be a bit more agile and moving. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're a doctor, the bowel movement, when I hear some people don't go for a week, you think, what?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
All those toxins are sitting in your gut, all that waste, come on. But, like I said,
fiber again, big
fiber, absolutely
important for that to move things. Yeah, absolutely.
And, I come from India where the old-fashioned toilets, a friend used that one, people used to squat. So using different muscles. Now we just sit on a royalty, throne, and you're not using any of your muscles, and you think, how inactive is that? And what is that doing to the sluggishness? So there's so many things that it's all for our comfort,
Yeah.
But that's not the way we were. Again, in evolution, we were not brought up to sit on a throne.
That's a good point, because these things I worry sometimes, because I see the pattern of developing countries going to just copying the models of, what's the Western model, and they're just going to making the mistakes that we already know the consequences are.
I completely agree with you. I mean, you are into science like me. And I've traveled. You like me from Brazil. I come from India, and when I go on a holiday back home to India, or I've traveled, to South America. I haven't been, but I've just touched Brazil. I've been to Peru.
That's really
I will have to. But because the local food tastes different. And I always say to my husband, gets a bit bored with my gut conversations.
Yeah, same here at home.
But I said, how's it within 2 days? My bowel movement has changed. Because and in India the carrots taste different. The chicken actually tastes different too. You think, rather than this heavily, made in multiple packs. And I thought, so it just shows that the food, whatever is in there, is causing immediate changes in the gut. It could be microbiome related a little bit, but even like movement, bowel movement, you think, hang on, this is so interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
So lots to learn, and I completely understand you saying, everybody's seduced by the wealthier countries and think whatever they do is the right thing, and I'm not really sure that's true.
No. And I think it's important. It's one of the things as well. I think it's important for me personally to get that message there.
Yeah.
Because don't think this is a good thing, something to move towards, because actually this is an unhealthy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my mother was born during India's partition. They had to leave the country, and I would love to study the microbiome of refugees or mothers, who are moving under all that stress. What's happening to their breast milk, for example, at the time.
Oh, God.
But I still remember as a child in India, my mom used to always religiously, don't ask me why, she used to soak 5 almonds, for each of her child. We were 3 girls at that time. And soak them overnight and have it in the morning. And she learned it from her father that is good for brain health. And I don't know where she got it from, but thank you, Mom, because nuts, are good for you, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah. You see, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So please do not ignore the local cultural information, because they are full of knowledge. Absolutely.
Full of wisdom. Absolutely. And it won't hurt you. So what's the problem to listen,
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So to wrap up, can I ask you to give me 3 final tips, and what's the 3 most important things that you'd like people to take home from our chat, from this conversation, and microbiome health?
Okay. I guess the most important that when you put food in your mouth, just remember you're not just feeding yourself, you're feeding all your friends in your tummy as well. Yeah. And so if I have a donut, I will have donut-loving microbes. Whereas if I have good nuts one. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing, of course, I would say is what Tim Spector says, the more variety of food you eat, the reason that we say that more colors in your food, is, of course, they're naturally are, the colors like antioxidants we mentioned, but that invites lots of variety of microbes. Yeah. Okay. Because they like different foods. And then you'll have a more diverse population, and we know the diverse population equals good health.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a mantra. That really is the mantra, I would say. And and just enjoy, just fall in love with food. I think that's the best drug out there.
I think it's something that we all need to, we just got in this modern life where too busy to cook.
Yeah, I think that's just been a little bit of a backward step. And of course, final comment with enjoy the food, help your microbiome, but also help them by trying not to take too much medication if possible, especially antibiotics.
Antibiotics.
This is just for general public, by the way. It's not for clinical conditions.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But you know what? I really think clinicians could hear this and learn some these tips as well. I can tell that myself.
Yeah, I think the clinical conditions are obviously something a bit more unique challenges. Each condition will
Oh, you mean for the patients? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I guess the biggie is probiotics are not the answer for everything. Remember, I gave the example of cancer.
Yeah.
You want your immune system to be active sometimes. Sometimes you want it to be sleeping. So be careful how you look after your microbiomes. That's why food, I think, is the best.
Interesting. Absolutely. This is wow. I'm surprised. I didn't know that actually. This is, and it's quite an important point here.
Yeah.
So, Mona, thank you so much.
Real pleasure. Real pleasure. Yeah.
I could just talk to you for days.
But first of all, congratulations that you're looking after your little one so well. And do you have any plans of coming to the UK?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I'll be very happy to look at your baby's poo sample.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And my breast milk, if you want to.
Yes.
As well.
Because, we need more volunteers to improve our understanding.
Absolutely.
And the more people like you who are so enthusiastic, the quicker we can learn new things. So
absolutely.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me. Okay, talk soon.
Thank you for being here. I know how busy you are. Thank you.
No, it's been a real pleasure. Talk to you again very soon.
Talk to you very soon. We need to catch up.
Bye for now.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.